Today, I'm thrilled to welcome Chloe Myers, founder of the B Plan, and a busy mum of two boys, right? Let's dive right into her inspiring story. Chloe, it's absolutely amazing to have you today.
Thank
Uh,
you.
First question. So what do you do and for how long?
So I've been in business for 9 years now. I founded the B Plan in September 15, so just over 9 years. And I essentially help everybody access better nutrition, fruits and vegetables in a capsule. Um, so fantastic for people that are very, very busy and dealing with life. It's very, very hard to get all of the nutrition that we need now on a plate. There's a much longer part of that, but yeah, that's what I feel really passionate about. So helping everybody to thrive in the 21st century. And I work with an incredible community of health professionals and people passionate about health and well-being to share that message. And yeah, I absolutely love it. It's my passion turned into a business, which is
Oh,
a great position to be in. Yeah.
yeah, amazing. And what would you say makes you different, makes you stand out from others in the industry?
So, well, so I work with the capsules, which is my absolute passion. The products themselves have had over 45 published clinical studies on them. So what I love is, there's so much noise out there and so many different products to do with health and well-being. But what I will always want to know is, does it work? If I'm going to pay money for something, I need to know that it's going into my body knows it, recognizes it, and absorbs it. And once it's absorbed, what's it actually doing? And to be able to have nearly 50 clinical studies to show what it's doing on a cell level in our body is really powerful for me. And then to be able to go out and share it with other health professionals who see it, get it, and want to support their clients with it as well. So building this amazing tribe of passionate health and well-being warriors who are just out there standing for their clients, standing for transformation, and recognizing that we are in a real pickle when it comes to health and well-being in the 21st century. You've only got to open the newspapers or turn on the news to see that we're not winning the war with disease. And so what I really do with my clients is it's all about education and value. Taking a client who knows nothing about it, really educating it into their hands so that they feel really supported and really confident in what they're and how they're investing in their health, I guess. And then once they're using those products, I give a huge amount of value as well. So I feature a lot of guest speakers. We do 10-day reset programs. Yeah, I sort of really take care of them on that journey as well. It's very different to just going online and ordering something from somebody. I really believe that the first step is getting the nutrition in, but then our health and well-being, it's all the pillars. And so we've really got to tackle the whole self to thrive. So that's where I come in, and all of my warriors, we go in and help people to really look at their health and well-being long term. So yeah.
Oh, I love it. So what's been the business journey to date? What has it been like for you?
Oh, anyone that runs a business will know that it doesn't go like this. It's like a big messy spaghetti junction, right? So yeah, who I am now to who I was 9 years ago, I don't recognize. And I think when you're in business for yourself, you're basically enrolling yourself in the best personal development journey you can ever go on. So I think, to succeed in anything you do, it's 90% mindset, 10% mechanics. And so, working a lot on yourself, on your personal development, on learning, but also however much you learn, then putting it into action. So yeah, the journey's been incredible though. Like I've never wavered from the direction I want to go in. I know exactly how I want to do this. There's a lot of people in my industry doing it very, very differently, hitting social media very hard, sort of really in a sort of sales mindset, and that's not where I'm at. I'm very much like leading with integrity. Everybody who works with me becomes a friend, and I'm here for their journey. I stand for people, and I stand for the transformation they want, whether that's in the community, in the business that I run, or as a client. but it has been absolutely amazing. Like I love health and well-being as a field because every day is a school day. You're always learning something new. It's fascinating. It's like you meet somebody who does, I don't know, Reiki or Bowen technique or EAV bioresonance, and you're like, what is that? And you start learning about that, and then I just love that. And clients come to me with all these different problems, so I'm off googling, and so I love being able to always learn every day as well. But the personal development is incredible when you're in business for yourself, and you wear a lot of different hats. So it's also recognizing what you're really great at and what you enjoy doing, because there's things that I enjoy doing that I'm not so good at, so then I have to learn and develop that. There's other things I'm very good at that I don't necessarily enjoy, and then there's the things that I'm like, oh, I don't want to have to do this. Whereas if you have a job, you tend to just have one role and you do that really well. Whereas when you're in business for yourself, you do the sales, the marketing, the social media, the client follow-ups, the newsletters, the blogs, and it's very multifaceted. So again, every day is very different. But there's definitely the tasks I put off doing, which I need to do. It's like eat the frog first. I need to learn to eat the frog. But I love it. I do love it. I love the freedom that having your own business gives. I have 2 young boys. To be able to take 6 weeks in the summer with my kids and not ask a boss for time off, and to be able to take 2.5 weeks at Christmas and just be where I need to be, and I work flexible hours. So sometimes, I work in the evenings, or I might get up a little early, or I might do a little bit of something on a Sunday, but it gives me so much freedom to be the mum that I want to be for my kids. And yeah, to just have all the summer. I can't imagine, having to ask the boss for 20 days a year. It's just, yeah, I don't know how mums do it. It's so difficult these days. That's partly why I do what I do, to really help mums, especially create a bit more freedom and choice, because I think it's so difficult, raising a family and working full time. I think the childcare costs. I think that unflexible working hour. Yeah, it's something I push against and stand for mums and working mums especially.
Yeah, no, as a working mom myself, I absolutely get that. You are surrounded by quite an amazing team. Can you tell me a little bit about your leadership style and how you manage and lead such a great team?
So I'm a reluctant leader. I always said growing up, and I don't want my own business at all. Never wanted to be a business owner. Certainly didn't want to ever run a team. I did that in my previous travel job and I hated it. I felt really unconfident at it. I'm very much somebody that likes to be the wingman, the second in command. So when in any job I ever had, I had my boss or my director, and I was always the assistant to that, the assistant manager, I never wanted to be up front, running ahead. So it's been an interesting journey over 9 years. Like I said, I've done it reluctantly, in that I still don't have that confidence around me. People see me as a leader, but I don't. I find it uncomfortable, but that is business, right? Having to step out the comfort zone every day and push yourself to become better. And for where I'm at in my business as a very established leader in my industry, my next sort of goal is to duplicate and double my business. And for that, I have to really get my big girl pants on and really step up. So, but I'm so fortunate because I think, when you're working in a community and a team of people who all want to be entrepreneurial and they want to have life on their own terms, they have to step up into leadership on their own anyway. In that I don't employ people. My team choose to join me, and then it's up to them what they do. So I do love systems and processes. So I'm very good at saying, plug into that, do that, do that. So this will really help you. So I've been very good at creating systems and automated elements. And I love doing our team calls and bouncing ideas off. We're very much a team. There's no sort of ego. There's no, oh, I'm the leader, look at me. It's very much anytime I win, it's because of what my community are doing. So I'm very much servant leadership. I serve my team. They're my bosses. They tell me what they need and I show up. And I think having a servant leadership style of leadership is much better than the old school kind of I'm your boss and you'll do what you're told. That would never work in what I do. So yeah, I'm just there to serve my guys, and if I can help them win, then I win ultimately. So yeah, it's quite a different. I don't know. I don't know if that's the right way to lead. I don't know. I've just kind of fumbled my way through the business, and this is what works. But yeah, I will definitely support them every step of the way. But I think you definitely need ways of duplication and creating systems that people can plug into to sort of keep life simple. Yeah.
Mm, mm. Yeah, no, I absolutely agree actually on everything. Even though you're a reluctant leader, I think what you're doing is quite amazing. Um, so, what's been the most challenging part of building a business for you, and how did you overcome, or how are you overcoming it?
There's the wobbles. I think there's the uncertainty when you're a business owner. If you're employed, I know there's no job security necessarily permanently, but you know that no matter what you do in the month, you're taking home a certain income every month and it's guaranteed, and you know, belt and braces. When you're in business for yourself, you can have up and down months. Um, and growth is uncomfortable. And when you have big goals like I have, where you literally want to change the world of nutrition and the way that, you know, the way people eat and help make it, when you've got massive goals to change the world, it's quite uncomfortable. And so yeah, I definitely get an anxiety around that at times, and that has probably been my biggest battle, is my mindset, and moments when you want to quit and you're like, this is hard. It would be easier to just go out and get a job and just show up at 9, finish at 5, and you're done. Whereas, you know, if I'm sat on the beach with my kids, I still have like ping ping little messages coming in. You're never fully switched off. I think it's really important to create boundaries around that when you're in business for yourself, having that boundary of self-care or moments when you are just not responsive online, because that's the thing. I think now with technology, you're accessible all the time. And whilst I love being able to help people, I sort of it can be at my own detriment sometimes, because I'm so passionate about helping people that I often say yes. And I've had to really create strong boundaries around that, of learning to say no. And when people are like, can you help me with this? Can you do that? I'm like, no, I'm sorry, I can't. I'm with my family today. Or, you know, I do a lot of networking and people ask favors for that. And I'm like, I'm really sorry. No, I've done my 2 sessions for the month or something like that. So yeah, just putting boundaries in place, and just that, just the negative self-talk, the little weevils that get in. And when people say no to you, you know, for your business, you know, the rejection's hard at times. And this is why I said your mindset is absolutely key, and surrounding yourself with the good people, the people that believe in you, support you, uplift you, want you to win as much as you want to win. I think it's very important you surround yourself with good people as well. But yeah, the mindset piece, I think, is the biggest thing. I think that's what means we succeed in our marathon, or we quit. It means it's what we do as a great parent, or we don't. You know, I think mindset is everything. And your mind is a huge muscle that you do have to flex every day. And your mind is also very good at creating imposter syndrome and negative self-talk and dark days. And yeah, we all have it. I think it's accepting that to be successful, you have to have the most amazing journey of failure to be successful. And we all fail. And I never look at anybody who's at the top of what they do and think it's easy for you. Oh, you know, you haven't had to work hard. Like, anybody who's successful in their business has had to really work hard. And so I really respect people who are very successful, because they've been through the same journey, and it's not always easy at all. So yeah.
No, not at all, not at all. Biggest mistake you've made, Chloe, and what did you learn from it?
Well, mistakes are there to teach you, right? You
Hmm.
either quit and give up, which gets you nowhere, ends you right back where you were, or you take your mistake, you look at it from every angle, lift it up, turn it around, find it pretty ugly and horrible, but you learn from it and you think, okay, well, that was a good learning lesson. I'll never do that again. Biggest mistake. I I don't know. That sounds really weird. I don't know if I've got a mistake. I've definitely done things wrong, but I've learned from it. I'm very adaptable. I learned from a brilliant coach once. She was talking about being an adaptable fox. foxes are very adaptable and they survive in whatever environment. And to be successful, she said, you've got to be foxy. And I was like, yeah, I'm quite foxy. I adapt quite a lot. When things aren't going right, I'm very determined. Mistakes. I mean, there's certain areas in my business where had I done it again, I could have sped things up and done it in double time if I'd known what I know now. That annoys me. There's things I do a bit differently. There's certain ways of building my community. I would have maybe structured it a little bit differently to get me further ahead to where I am now. But I don't know, you learn. And by learning that way and failing forward, you then can help your partners and your clients and whatever to get better results because you've learned. So I'm always leading from the front. I'll get it wrong so that my guys don't. So yeah, don't know if I've got any mistakes. Maybe my mistake was I was shown this business 2.5 years before I said yes. Maybe my mistake is not saying yes 2.5 years before I did. And then I would have been in business for nearly 12 years now, and I'd be absolutely boshing it more than I am now. But then equally, timing. I said no for 2.5 years because I wasn't in the right mindset and I wasn't desperate enough for change and I wasn't desperate enough for transformation and to push myself. So if I'd said yes 2.5 years before I did, I probably would have quit. So I always say people are clocks and they make the change, whether it's health, marriage, relationships, kids, parenting styles, jobs. You make the change when you hit 12 o'clock, when you're like, it takes you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to be like, oh, I don't really like this. This isn't good enough. This isn't working. I'm not sure. I've tried that. No, that's not working. And then you get to 12 and you're like, right, got to make a change. And for me, every time I've made big decisions in my life, it's when I hit 12 o'clock and I'm like, enough now. Let's do this differently. So I said yes and I said yes. Yeah, can't go back any forward. So yeah.
So what is forward? So what does the future hold for you?
Finding one of the areas I really want to work on is finding more ways to scale my business. Never done that before. I don't know. Doubling up my business, never done that before. I have, but you know, I've got to take it next level. So it's all learning and new things. Very lucky I've got brilliant people around me to help me do that. So along the 9 years, I've collected phenomenal people in their industry and their businesses who are great at coaching or giving you tools and systems and things like that. So that's another blessing of what's come from this. But what the future holds is impacting more lives, helping maybe thousands, because I'm in the hundreds now, so helping thousands of people with their health and transformation. It's just got to be simple. Life is so busy. Yeah, nutrition, well-being has got to be simple and effective for everyday people in little pockets of time. And scaling up the community, just working with hundreds and thousands of professionals to make an impact. I just want to create a ripple around the world. You know, I can't do it on my own as a tidal wave. I'd rather be a drop and create the ripple and everybody linking arms together. So I'm really excited. I think all the best is yet to come. And I think as people struggle more and more, and I'm very passionate about, you know, the state of our health and well-being, I think is not great. And I also think it's the same when we look at our bank accounts and when we look at our way of working and how stressed we are and how many hours we're sacrificing to make ends meet. I think the system's not working. And I really want to help more people create other income streams. I think the way of working, you know, where you go into a job in your 20s and you stay there till you retire. I just don't think that works anymore. I think people are looking for multiple ways to earn, to be resourceful and adaptable and have like your bread and butter, your full-time job, but then other ways to have income streams coming in, because we're just working harder than ever for less and less. And I want to change that. And I want to empower people to have multiple income streams so that, you know, like, you know, back down in lockdown when my husband was furloughed, I was able to pay the mortgage. I mean, what a blessing that is as a stay-at-home mum, you know. And I'm so grateful that we were in that position, because we would have been plunged into so much debt. And so, and I know that that is a huge reality for so many people, and it's one of the biggest stresses in life is money worries and the stress of how many hours we give. So that's a big thing I want to turn around. That's a big passion of mine. and where I feel, yeah, proper passionate. So
I can feel that passion, Chloe. It's amazing. Absolutely. What advice would you give to someone just starting out in business?
don't surround yourself with the neg ferrets. Choose who you allow to come in, the weevils, pick them out carefully. So make sure you're surrounded by good people and people that have got your back. Give it at least 2 years. I always say treat this like a degree program. Don't expect to make money in your first couple of years of business. Just like when you're going out to study for a degree, you're not earning loads of money in your first 6 weeks of your degree. You're in there to learn and to practice and to master what you're doing, like an apprenticeship, really. So yeah, give it time. Just stay committed. Know exactly why you're doing this. Know what sits on the other side of failure. Because for me, failure is not an option. I'm not going back to where I was before I started this business. The stuck stay-at-home mum who was struggling in so many ways, struggling mentally, struggling financially, just struggling with purpose, like just really stuck. So know why you're doing this and what the payoff is. Like if you don't make it work, I think it's so important to have that why that pushes you. And just be prepared to fail. Like when we're in school, failure is so bad. You fail a test, you get a big red mark. You might have to speak to your parents or talk to the teacher at the end. Like it's really shamed upon to fail. Failure is seen as bad. Failure isn't bad as long as you're not hurting anybody. Like failure is how you learn, right? You look at a baby learning to walk, they fail every day, multiple times. And when they fall down, we're like, oh, baby, come on, up you get, up you get. It's all celebrated. Can you imagine like if a baby fell over once and we're like, no, like went mad at them, they'll never learn to walk, but everybody's learned to walk, right? So why do we see failure as bad? It's honed into us through the system of education and, and even things like don't ask for help. You're sitting in a test, you don't know the question, or you're stuck in your class and you don't know the question. You can't ask your neighbor. That's bad. Don't ask for help. And yet when you're in business for yourself, I go to coaches. I'm like, can you help me? I'm stuck. I'm stuck with my mindset. I'm stuck with this system. I don't know how to build a CRM. I don't know how to do this. Oh, I'm going to attend a social media workshop with a social media coach because I don't know how to do that. And can you help me? I ask my team, can you help me with this? Like asking for help is success. Failing is success. At least you're on the court playing the game. So I just don't know how it gets drummed into us, this really small way of thinking around failure and success, and asking for help is being weak. Asking for help, whether it's mental health or your business or anything in life, can you help me? People want to help. I love helping people. That's like one of my things. I'm a giver. I like helping people. And I like it when people feel vulnerable enough to ask me for help. It's like, of course I will. So, but that's drummed out of us through school and things like that. And also to be small, be quiet. Don't, I was always brought to the front of the class. Come and get to the front. You're distracting everybody. Like I found school quite difficult. I just was bored. I was bored by all of it, like sit, be quiet, sit still, don't move. Da, da, da. And yet, like to be creative and to have high energy and passion is a good thing in business. So it's very difficult going out and building your own business because you basically have to go against everything you're told not to do. Ask for help, be prepared to fail, screw it up. That's okay. That's a good thing. And be passionate and be loud and be your person and stand for what you want and be a black sheep, be different. Don't stand for less. Dream big. Oh, you're never going to be an astronaut. Don't be ridiculous. You can't be a footballer. Look at that. Like, you're not allowed to dream. And yet, if you have a business, you want more for your life, and that's going against the mold. So basically, my words for someone new in business is you're just going to have to be a freak and go against everything you're told to be successful, and that's why it's uncomfortable. Going out, getting a good job, working for somebody and getting paid is normal. Going against the mold and standing apart from everybody else and failing forward and screwing things up and not seeing success for 2 years and having to ask for help, that's difficult, and that's odd and a different way of being. And that's why you really got to plug into this stuff every day. Yeah.
What is your key to success then, Chloe?
For me, being doggedly determined. I'm very stubborn, very determined. When I first started out in this business, I had a panic, like day one. And I was like, oh my God. And I rang my business partner, Jeff, who's an incredible clinician and health practitioner. And I said, I just don't think I can do this. What are people going to think? What are people going to say? I'm very worried what people think of me. It's still a thing. It's still a thing after 9 years. I worry a lot about what people think, which is bizarre. I don't know where that comes from. I'm still working on that one. And I was like, and they're going to say this, and what if they do this? And he said, look, don't do it then. Like you've got nothing to lose. Like just don't do it. It's up to you. Like, and I remember by him saying, don't do it, and maybe you shouldn't do it, and maybe you can't do it. I was like, don't you tell me what I can and can't. And I've realized and he laughs now and he's like, it worked though, didn't it? Like the reverse psychology. And I was like, yeah, it did. Because I'm very determined. And if I set myself a task to do, I will keep going until it's done. And I hit a very, very big goal in my business in July. And my background image is me standing on stage last week, actually speaking to 700 people as a main speaker, which was huge. That was one of my goals, tick, as the lead speaker. Yeah, absolutely amazing. And but I set myself that goal. And when I finally hit it, and it took me years to hit this goal, it was then like, oh, I don't know what I want to do next. Like it's taken me until now to be like, right, now I know what the next goal is. But it took me a bit of time to reassess because it's like pushing. And then you finally hit it and you're like, hey, I'm knackered. Whew. And then it's like, oh, it's like you finally reached the pinnacle of what you wanted. And then there's like, I don't know what's on the other side of that. So it's taken me a few months just to collect myself, regather, get this sorted. And now I'm like, okay, that was just the first tip of Everest. Now I'm like looking at the next one. I'm like, here we go. So yeah, just being really driven and really knowing why I'm doing it. And it's so much bigger than me. When you have a mission to help other people and your family, and I have so many things that drive me, it's so much bigger than myself. So I can't let anybody down. So just got to keep going. So yeah, just be really determined and be adaptable because you have to keep moving the whole time. Life is always moving. Social media is moving. The world of being an entrepreneur is moving. Everything moves. So you can't be like, I'm going to do this every day for the next 10 years. Like it just doesn't work like that. You have to be adaptable. And I'm really trying to teach that to my boys as well. Like our routine has changed for Christmas Eve this year. And they're like, I don't like it. It's going to be different. And I'm like, different doesn't mean bad. Different is just different. It's going to bring loads of other lovely things that you don't know because we haven't done different yet. But it's learning that you can adapt and find new ways of being that are really positive and bring whole new things into your existence that you didn't even know existed. So be adaptable and be determined. Don't let anybody else's thoughts quit you from doing what you want to do. I've always said other people's opinions don't pay your bills, and everybody has an opinion. So just don't choose to listen to them. You know, people shouldn't judge unless they're in your shoes. So just stay determined to what you want.
Excellent. What is one book you are reading now or have read in the past that you can recommend?
I don't read books. I'm terrible with a book. I go over the same line over and over, and I'm like, and I have to write notes and highlight it. I destroy books. But I do like an Audible because I can multitask. I can drop the kids to school, come back and plug in. And I absolutely at the moment I'm just finishing up Rich Dad Poor Dad. Robert, I'm gonna say it wrong, Kiyosaki or something. But Rich Dad Poor Dad, because God, it's like a Bible of how to earn money literacy, which I think is vital. We should be teaching this to kids in primary school and beyond about the psychology behind how we make money, and we make money work for us, creating assets, not liabilities. I think if you haven't read it, it's unbelievable. And I think it's literally gets you seeing through a whole new lens. I found it phenomenal, absolutely life-changing. And it's stuff that I'm teaching the boys now. And things like when they said, oh, mum, I want this, instead of saying, well, you know, that's ridiculous, like that's so expensive, I can't afford that. Saying, okay, darling, well, how could you afford that? And getting them thinking about, oh, and my son was like, well, could I take my car cleaning business back up to earn some money to afford it? And I'm like, yeah, you could do that. See, he's 13 and he already has his own business where he can make money, and he's creating an asset because it's a low cost to run business, but he's bringing in more than he's spending. And it's things like that. And I think money literacy it's vital to teach. It's a massive life skill that if you earn this much, you put half of it aside to then make that £1 make £1.50 to make £2, and then you use the rest to pay your bills, and you live within your means. You don't overspend. You create assets, not liabilities. If you haven't read Rich Dad Poor Dad or listened to it, you must. It's phenomenal for anybody that wants to be successful or have control over their income, their finances, their money for the future. It's the Bible.
Great book. Absolutely agree on that. Final question. Best piece of advice you ever got that you can pay forward?
Oh my God, there's so much advice. Hey, I don't know. I think like the one of like, opinions are like, well, I can't say, but opinions are like blah blah blah, everybody's got one. I think that's a good bit of advice to think, because you can't please everybody, and everybody, you get judged no matter what, right? If you cut your hair, you change your hair color, you wear an outfit, people are like, oh, they're wearing this, or oh, I love that. Like, you can't listen to all of that. When you're doing what matters to you, you have just got to stay in your own lane. Comparison is the thief of joy. And I've been guilty of it. I compare myself all the time, you know, especially in my business, in my industry. There's some people that are absolutely smashing it and they're going way faster than me and they're really growing phenomenal businesses. And I'm like, and then I get, you know, anxious over it. But they're not in my shoes. They're not running my life, dealing with what I deal with, and they're not building it the same way as me. I build my business very, very differently and much slower with really solid clients and things like that. So I think it is just that comparison is the thief of joy, and you've just got to stay in your own lane and just do you do you. I think that is a major part of any form of happiness in life. It's not about business, it's in anything. If you're a parent, you know, people are going to have opinions. It doesn't matter. Like, you're doing your best, you're doing the absolute best you can, keep adapting, keep focusing on how you can be better, but just do you and do what matters to you. It's the same in everything, in business, parenting, your marriage. Like, you just can't judge. Don't judge others, and don't compare yourself to others. Just stay in your own lane. You do you and work on yourself every day.
Chloe, that's amazing advice, and thank you for sharing that. I'm so grateful you came on. This has been wonderful. Thank you for everything that you've shared, and
my pleasure.
Yeah, so much helpful advice there for our viewers. So thank you again.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks for asking, and I really hope this helps. You know, especially people who might be a bit frustrated or feeling stuck. It's not stuck. This is the bit where you grow. You know, the success like that is all lovely. It's when you're going down there, that's when the growth, that's where you become successful, when you start looking at ways to get out. So don't see it as negative. It's a really positive place to be, because that's where you flex the mind muscle and your grit and determination. And that's where you're going to up level and become the person you need to be to get back up to success. So, you know, yeah, it's all here to teach us. So I really hope that helps.
It does. Brilliant. Thank you.
My pleasure.